Well, good morning again. Today we're going to show you a little bit about how we rain screen a house. So in British Columbia, which is where we build, one of our big issues here is rain, and we've got a lot of weather. So what you'll see when we design our houses, at least when we like to design our houses, is that a lot of the attention to detail is on how we cover over a house. So we've got a lot of overhangs, we got a lot of 2-foot overhangs. But the most important part is when we actually clad the house, we're very, very particular on how we wrap our houses, how we flash our houses and our roofs, how we drain our houses with our gutters, and how the siding goes on our houses. So let me show you a little bit about how we do that. Probably the best way is if we kind of go down the side and show you some details. Now you can see what we've got on this house so far is we've got our exterior sheathing, which is either plywood or OSB. It's a weatherproof product that's rated for stuff like this. But what you can see as we get closer here is we've got this pressure treated plywood strip that we put on. So our OSB sits underneath this, and then we've got 2 layers of what's called 30-minute building paper overlapped. And you can see this paper. This paper is actually from here to up and about here somewhere wide, but you can see we've overlapped it, kind of like shingles. We start from the bottom and move up. You see there's 2 layers, 1 and then 2. It is right there. So 1 layer, 2 layer. So that means that our whole house has 2 layers of paper on. So if there's a staple perforation here, it'll generally be over top of a solid membrane underneath. So we've used a few different materials, like a Tyvek type material, but we found in speaking with our siding guys that the most successful way to clad a house is with 2 layers of 30-minute building paper overlapped. The next thing that we do is wherever there's and we showed you this before, wherever there's a window that goes in, we use this peel and stick material and we overlap that. And that's like a tar, kind of a plasticky material, and we use a primer that you can see it's actually stuck hard to that peel and stick membrane is stuck hard to that building paper. So that's wherever there's a perforation, we put that in. That includes hose bibs, everything like that. And the last thing that we do is we put on Rainscreen. So the idea of Rainscreen is that when our siding material sits on top of this house, there's actually an airspace in behind it. And that airspace is created, as you can see here, with this Rainscreen material. So it creates this kind of cavity. So we work on the premise that even though we expect our houses siding to be absolutely waterproof, we're working on the premise that there's a way the water is going to eventually get in. And if water does get in, we want to drain it out. So when water gets in behind, it runs up against that building paper. If perchance it does, it'll run down that cavity all the way down to the bottom here where it's open. So what do we need to do if we have an open-ended cavity on a house? We need to worry about bugs going in. So we run a bug screen. So that way the bugs can't get up. The water can drain out. We actually wrap that around. You can see it's looped in behind this stuff here, and that creates a cavity that's a barrier for bugs and anybody like that. But it also lets our walls breathe. When we put our siding on, we put our window trim on. There's a few things that we need to do with that too. We need to flash wherever we have a window. We can flash that with a tin flashing. We set our siding up on that same huge cavity there in beneath. We also notch it, and this is the way that we cut our windows. We notch the bottom so our siding will fit up underneath so it looks right. And you can see we also cut this line here, and this is called a drip line. So when the water does run around here, it hits this line as opposed to running back up as water will do. It hits this line and this line drips off. So that's basically how we put a piece of window trim together for hardy siding, or in this case we're using a Certainteed siding product. I'll show you the finished product as we put it in. There you go.